everyone, to the Buttercup Podcast, where we talk about early childhood topics. My name is Marisa Macy, and I'm so excited today because I have two people from Spain that are joining us. And the first person that I want to introduce you to is Professor Dr. Isabel María Gómez Bareto, and she has her Ph.D. in education. She is an associate professor and coordinator of the Pedagogy Department, area of Didactics and School Organization in the Faculty of Education of Albacete of the University of Castilla-La Mancha in Spain. She's a member of the group LabinTic, which stands for Laboratory for the Integration of Technology in the Classroom. Her lines of research are based on intercultural education, initial teacher education, and professional development, teaching learning processes, and social-emotional development. Her scientific production is based on the participation in numerous regional, national, and international congresses, as well as on the publication of 4 books and more than 25 articles indexed in high-impact indices. My other guest today is Dr. Carlos Montoya Fernández, and he has his Ph.D. in education. He is a postdoctoral researcher in the Pedagogy Department, area of Didactics and School Organization in the Faculty of Education of Albacete at the University of Castilla-La Mancha in Spain. He's a member of the research group LabinTic, same as for Dr. Gómez Bareto, in the Laboratory for the Integration of Technology in the Classroom. He began his academic career 4 years ago, and his lines of research are based on the fields of early childhood education, learning and development processes, play, authentic assessment, teacher professional development, and interculturality. To date, he has won 2 awards associated with the research quality of the doctoral thesis at the regional and national levels. Congratulations, that is awesome. His scientific, bravo. His scientific production is based on the participation in more than 20 regional, national, and international congresses, as well as on the publication of 5 book chapters and 5 articles indexed in high-impact indices. In addition, he has acted as a reviewer for IGI Global Publishing, the journal Early Years, the European Early Childhood Research Journal, and the Revista Complutense de Educación. Welcome. It's so good to have you guys here.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're excited for this opportunity.
Well, how did you get started in this work?
Well, in my case, everything starts from a decision. I was admitted in 2 grades, on the one hand, in the degree of early childhood education teacher, and on the other hand, in psychology. So I thought of myself and where I saw myself doing in the next 40 years. So I chose to study early childhood education teacher, and that was the beginning of all this.
De mi parte, pues comencé estudiando educación especial y fue a partir de conocer esa educación especial que me llevó a conocer y explorar la educación infantil. Mi primer lugar de trabajo fue un centro de educación infantil, aun cuando era educadora de educación especial, pues la ternura de los niños, la habilidad para aprender, el disfrute de estar con ellos, me llevó a quedarme y especializarme en educación infantil.
Isabel is talking about her experience in special education, and she was in a special education. She was thinking in a special education school, but she entered in an early childhood education center, and there she discovered how attractive can be children in this preschool age, and she was fascinated by all the experience. and she decided to remain in this stage.
Gracias, Dr. Gomez, and gracias, Dr. Fernandez. I got to meet you at the conference in London, the Bright Start. And one of the things that you both did is a presentation on play-based assessment. Do you want to share a little bit about your work in play-based assessment?
Yeah. Well, for the creation of this workshop, we thought in three purposes or three objectives. For example, we wanted to foster the understanding of play-based assessment for the development of and learning in early childhood education. And the second objective was encouraging reflection and the opportunities provided by learning environments and materials for play-based assessment of psychomotor development. And the third objective was the experiencing motor play as a strategy for play-based assessment of psychomotor skills. In this way, in order to carry out authentic assessment of these abilities of their skills in children, we decided to create a playful learning environment created with the security, exploration, and fantasy that characterize the Disney films. And this was the topic of this workshop based on the motor story of the Lion King film. Moreover, to create this learning environment, we divided this film into some parts, and we assigned some of learning objectives. This film was translated into a storytelling strategy in which the children were the protagonists of this experience and had to make some actions to achieve all the skills that we designed in each part of the session.
Queríamos que los niños se sumergieran en ese mundo de fantasía para que a través de esa ilusión, de esa fantasía, de esa imaginación, ellos pudieran mostrar sus habilidades de manera libre, de manera espontánea, de manera natural.
Isabel is saying that we wanted to children to go deep in this fantasy world in order to favor the children's skill in a freely manner, in a freely way in which they can show these skills. So in order to continue with what Isabel talking, the skills that we planted in this workshop were running, jumping, balance, tanto dynamic and static balance, expressing emotions, socialization. In this way, we planify all the parts of the session with this objective.
Yes, it was brilliant. And before the session started, you moved all of the tables and we could see you through the window and you were setting up this elaborate, beautiful space for us. And there were professionals from all over the world there and researchers. And some people even had some children there that came with their parents because they were in London, and the parents brought the children, and everybody had so much fun. And it was so neat how you showed us how we can do authentic assessment and incorporate play to learn about developmental milestones. And so it was just so neat. And then Dr. Luisa was there with both you, Dr. Carlos, and Dr. Isabel, and it was hybrid. So some people were online and some people were in the space And it was just so neat how you did that with the movie Lion King, and you had the music and you had the games, and so many neat, rich activities for us. Well, how did you get started in this work with authentic assessment and your research?
Well, it was part of my doctoral thesis because we wanted to design an instrument based on authentic assessment and that incorporates play in this equation. So we thought about this, and in this moment, our research is based on the publication of this instrument that was designed to assess, to playful assess the development and learning skills of children in early childhood education. It was validated in the Spanish context, and it allows to assess the psychomotor domain, the cognitive domain, and the socio-emotional domain through play in children 5 years old. So that was the beginning for us in this authentic assessment world.
En este sentido, además de diseñar ese instrumento, era fundamental aportar o ilustrar y describir cómo crear esos ambientes de aprendizajes y diseñar estrategias que conlleven a implementar una evaluación auténtica en educación infantil. Es decir, dar herramientas, orientaciones, favorecer la creación de espacios enriquecidos para permitir al niño ser lo que es, demostrando lo que sabe y lo que siente cuando ejecuta sus experiencias de aprendizaje.
Isabel is talking about how this instrument allows us to show and describe these learning environments and design strategies to implement this authentic assessment in early childhood education in order not just to establish in which phase or stage is the children regarding their development or learning, but to describe these milestones and these children's skills.
Además, también la investigación muestra cómo los docentes deben ser respetuosos con ese proceso de libertad de ejecuciones y de acciones que el niño muestra y que hace visible cómo aprende, cómo siente y cómo piensa.
And moreover, research shows how important is to children to have the freeness and all the space to freely show their abilities and to make visible their thinking.
Y cómo el docente tiene que abordar esa interacción, no con instrucciones, sino con propuestas y con alternativas de acción.
And how can the teacher implement these strategies, not by instruction, but with our learning opportunities and environments that challenge children to make all the movements and to freely show their abilities.
Y no solo un docente, porque también esta evaluación, esta investigación que trabajamos, también le permite a un terapeuta, también a un psicólogo educativo, a un educador especial, llevar a cabo estas estrategias.
Moreover, Isabel is talking about the versatile instrument that can be useful not only for teachers, but also for researchers, for educational psychologists, for psychopedagogical environment, for special education, for a wide range of professional opportunities.
Gracias, Dr. Carlos, and gracias, Dr. Isabel. My students are the ones who watch this podcast or listen audio, and one of the things that is so awesome about your partnership is the work that you're doing together in your research program. Could you talk a little bit about how you as a postdoctoral research, Dr. Carlos, work with Dr. Isabel? Were you her student and then you continued at the university doing work in the postdoc role?
¿Ok? A nuestro juicio, nuestros estudiantes pudieran escuchar estos podcasts para que pongan el foco en que la evaluación no solo es un resultado del aprendizaje, que la evaluación forma parte de ese proceso de enseñanza y aprendizaje y que a través de esa evaluación auténtica nosotros estamos provocando que nuestros niños nos hagan visible su pensamiento, nos hagan visible su estructura mental, nos hagan visible cómo construyen sus aprendizajes.
Okay. Isabel is talking about how we understand the evaluation. We understand it as a process of the teaching and learning process that allow children to make visible how they are constructing, they are creating their learning.
De sus skills, sus habilidades.
And how they promote their skills.
Okay.
In Spain, from a legal point of view, assessment is understood as a global, continuous, and formative process. In this way, all assessment has to have a purpose, an objective, and this objective is the way in which we promote all the actions and all the opportunities to by observing and describing directly and systematically all their learning and development. How, and as I said before, not only being strict in milestones, but also describing all this process and how children are in each one of these domains.
Yes, I love that approach. So it's formative assessment and it has a purpose. So when we are assessing children using authentic assessment, it's purposeful. And we go in with ideas that we're going to be observing and looking for, and it's formative. And we can shape our assessment as we go along. I love the way you describe that too. And in Italiano se dice niente senza gioia. And in English it means nothing without joy, niente senza gioia. And when we play with children, when we're joyful and when we're having fun and they're having fun, we can see so many things with their skills and with their development. And that's what I took away from your session and also from your research that you all do in Spain. It's just so neat. Could you talk a little bit about the LabinTic, the Laboratory for the Integration of Technology in the Classroom?
Ya. Es un equipo de investigación multidisciplinar que, aunque nació para investigar acerca de la educación y el uso de las tecnologías, cada vez más ha crecido y se convierte en un equipo de investigación multidisciplinar donde el foco es el aprendizaje, pero a través de la investigación de múltiples disciplinas como el idioma, la educación especial, el pensamiento, el aprendizaje, la educación intercultural, la robótica, el pensamiento computacional. En fin, es interdisciplinar, aunque nace como un laboratorio de investigación en el área de las tecnologías, pues toma su fundamento en el aprendizaje a través de distintas disciplinas.
Okay, Isabel is talking about our group. This is the LabinTic group that begins as a research group in which the purpose is to make research regarding in how technology can foster the education process. But as Isabel was talking, this group is growing and is composed in a multidisciplinary way by different areas, such as special education, computational thinking, and how much? ¿Qué más?
Idiomas.
Yeah, idioms, interculturality, and history and geography, and a lot of areas, each one with their research. So, in fact, we are a multidisciplinary group, research group, that allow us to work in an interdisciplinary way too.
That's awesome. So it's interdisciplinary, and the laboratory is at your university?
Yes, in the Faculty of Education of here of our city in Albacete. And we have a lot of opportunities to work, to develop new projects that foster research in all these areas.
Yes, that is wonderful. How exciting. And the interdisciplinary nature of it too, with people from other professions and disciplines, and being able to collaborate. I just realized we were talking about formative assessment, and the students in my assessment class, they'll be watching this, and they might not know what it means yet. And so the difference between formative and summative assessment is something that we'll be talking about in class. But one of the ways that I like to talk about it is pretend you're a chef and you are in the kitchen, and you're making a soup, and you're putting in some carrots and the soup stock and onions and a protein and maybe some salt, and then it's formative because you can continue to shape that recipe. You can add more salt if it needs more. You can take the spoon and taste it, and you can see, if it needs anything else. Maybe it needs a little something. So that's like a formative assessment. It can change, it can evolve. It's not structured or standardized. It has to be done a certain way every time. Now, some chefs, they might have a recipe that they follow, but that's like a formative assessment. You can shape it. It's not something that's you can't change. But when it's a summative assessment, that is kind of like when the soup goes out into the kitchen, and it leaves the kitchen and it goes into the restaurant, and the customer is in front of the customer, and they pick up the soup and they start eating it. And then they decide if it's a good soup or if it needs more things added to it. So that's kind of like summative. So kind of another way to think of it is a summative assessment could be like the final test in a class. Could be like the end of the unit exam where we're going to assess, and when we're done, it's over. It's the sum of learning, or that's kind of the way I think of it. How about you? Do you have other ways of thinking about formative assessment?
I love your example. Because that's what it means. Yeah, that was a fantastic example for us. Yeah. So we share your opinion and how do you define this formative assessment?
Yeah, gracias. Well, if you had to like pick one highlight of your career so far, what's been a special highlight that has happened? Do you have any?
Well, for me, there are two key points in my career. One of it are the Bright Star conference at London, because it was an opportunity for me. It was a challenge because I have never talked so long in English in a professional way, and that was
Really?
a
That was your first time? That was
yeah,
that was your first time speaking that
yes,
long in English? You
yes.
did amazing. You were magnificent. Very good.
Thank you so
Very good.
much. Thank you so much. Yeah, it was a challenge too because it was a previous event before the defense of my doctoral thesis, and it was like, how can I afford in a professional public with this topic? So this lead us to my second key point, that was the defense of my doctoral thesis. And I'm so happy for it. We are so happy for it because I obtained the cum laude qualification. So it was magnificent.
Yes.
Bien, voy a decir dos cosas que la primera le va a ser difícil a Carlos expresarla.
Isabel is going to say two things, and she said that the first one is going to be difficult for me to translate.
Ujú. Bien, un punto culminante, fascinante en mi carrera profesional es estar al lado de una persona que ha sido mi estudiante, que ha sido mi doctorando y que en este momento es mi compañero de investigación. Y acompañar este proceso y luego ver el resultado de un investigador con propósito, sistemático, con rigor y además con personalidad y con pasión por el aprendizaje, es un momento culminante para mí. A ver si Carlos es capaz de decirlo.
Isabel is challenging me because she said that one of her key points in her career is to have myself next to her. First of all, like
Aww.
an undergraduate student, second as a PhD student, and third as a colleague in this research team. For her, it has been a grateful experience to learn from each other and to share all the opportunities. And I have to say that it's also for me because she was my thesis director, and I learned everything from her. So that's nice for both of us.
Ujú. Es cierto, it's true. Ya, otro momento culminante y muy importante en mi carrera ha sido recientemente, hace 2 semanas,
Mhm,
que he podido obtener mi titularidad en la universidad.
mhm,
No solo por lo obtenido, sino por ser consciente de un recorrido de 25 años en la que siempre he visto al niño muy poderoso para su propio aprendizaje, pero sobre todo porque me he dado cuenta que el niño tiene mucho potencial y que nos enseña más de lo que nosotros podemos enseñarles a ellos.
mhm. Well, Isabel is talking about her second key point. That was 2 weeks ago when she defended their permanent status in the university.
Sí,
She um, grew up as a senior professor in the University of Castilla-La Mancha in the area of Pedagogy, Didactics and Organization School. And also, she said that for her is a point in which she understands how value is children and how children, we're learning from children. ¿Qué más?
No es que he podido ser consciente
Mm.
de que lo más importante no es lo que le enseñamos a los niños, sino cómo ellos aprenden y cómo ellos nos enseñan a nosotros.
And she said that the importance is not how we teach children, but also how children learn and how can they teach us to improve our process.
Yes, yes. Gracias and congratulations, Dr.
Thank
Isabel.
you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I
Thank
love
you.
that so much. And I can tell you are an amazing, inspirational mentor to students like Carlos, Dr. Carlos, who were your student, and then you inspired them to stay at the university, do more research, and continue to grow as a professional. It's so neat to see mentors, mentees, and the partnership and how it continues and keeps on growing. Yeah, yeah.
That was fantastic for me too, because it's like in order to grow up in this complicated world, you need very straight volunteer and the willingness to afford all the difficulties. And that's why my mentor, my colleague, my director of the thesis teaches me, because all these opportunities that we share in the university are not possible if you don't have a person that improves your way in which you develop your professional career.
Yes, that is so well said. Absolutely. Thank you. Gracias. Yeah. Well, what is a way that listeners can follow you?
Well, I'm talking by both of us that listeners can follow us by ResearchGate or Google Scholar. That we have some our profile in this social media, and we update it daily with our research, our projects, and all our ideas in this world.
Mhm.
Excellent. ResearchGate, Google Scholar, conferences. You guys are very active with international conferences, national in Spain, and also your publications. It's so exciting to see what you're doing with play-based assessment. You gave me so much inspiration after I left that London conference. I just thought, I want to do more things like the way you do it when you present with the activities. So thank you so much.
That's an honor for us, because coming from you, that you are a reference in my thesis talking about playful and authentic assessment. For us and for me is an honor coming from you.
Thank you. The honor is mine. I feel so honored. Thank you.
Queremos dar un paso más. Dilo.
We want to make another step.
Yes.
Nos encantaría tener la oportunidad de compartir.
Isabel is talking about the opportunity that suppose this podcast to share
Experiencias de investigación en los distintos escenarios en los que estamos, sobre todo que tú te vas a ir a Portugal, ella está en Estados Unidos.
And how can we share all the experiences and research through this podcast? So we are grateful to have this opportunity, and for our part, it has been, like I said, an honor
Continuar
to continue.
Interaction.
Gracias, Dr. Isabel. Gracias, Dr. Carlos. It's an honor to get to talk with you. And thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're welcome.
You're welcome, Marisa. Thank you so much.